Thank you for attending, and I know some of you have been on the last couple of webinars, which is fantastic. Really shows a lot of staying power, and we also have a pretty good idea of who's super focused on using this application. And for those of you who are brand new, showing up just today, that's great. We're also happy to have you, and we will have the webinar replay. Sue and I are putting together a remake, a recorded version of it that'll be available in case you missed one or more of the previous webinars where we cover beginning aspects of setting your business rules, and then of course your keyword DNA and cluster stuff that Matt did yesterday. And yeah, we're just really excited. So we have a few minutes before the webinar actually begins, about 10. So we usually turn the mics on for any pre-questions that might come in. I know that Sue does record the pre-webinar time, because apparently on the first webinar our sneak peek interviews and stuff that we were doing before the actual webinar were almost as popular as the webinar itself, so we started recording some of our pre-dialogue. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the box. This is a time for us to be a little bit less formal before the webinar starts. We have about 10 minutes. If there's anything that is tangent or related, any of our other products that you have questions about, any burning desires, questions, requests, go ahead and toss them up and we'll try to answer them as best we can. In the meantime, we're just going to talk a little bit about this upcoming webinar and talk amongst ourselves about some things. So how's everything going for you, Matt, with the plugin? We're moving forward with that?
Yeah, I've been working on it all day today, just to demo today. We've made a lot of tweaks and modifications today, and I must say I'm pretty impressed with the work that's been done there. It's really looking good, and it just saves so much time. One or two little tweaks you've got to still do, but it's basically 99% there, so it's just us fine-tuning the last little things, then the plugin's ready to go.
Excellent.
But, it just makes everything just work so well. I'm super stoked with all of this. So
excellent, excellent. So we're for those of you who weren't here prior, working on a plugin that will allow you just to scoop all of the research and website silo framework and everything else directly into your blog once you've confirmed and selected the exact structure and hierarchy that you would like to include. And that's super exciting. We know that some of you have been waiting for that. Those of you who work in blog environments have been waiting for that. So we're very, very excited about that. We're not going to give an ETA on the estimated time of arrival on this just yet, because we have learned that until we have a specific deadline and we know when it's going to roll out, it's just better not to put a date out there. But we are talking objects in the mirror are nearer than they appear. So we're talking within a 2 or 3 week framework we're looking at.
yes, yeah, I've just been working on that. I've been doing a lot of work on the bots too.
Matt, you've cut out.
When you're updating it, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out for a long pulse.
All right, okay, no worries. It seems like I've bounced back in there. What I was saying was I'd been working on the bots today. I spent a good 4 or 5 hours coding there. And one thing I did add in extra when we were working on the actual DNA braid side of the project. I'll just take you where we're going in here, and I'll just give you a quick demo of what I've done. I just pulled in an extra routine for the guys that when we are actually updating the method results for the actual keyword, what the bot doing is just looking at the top 100 headlines at the same time as well. So this can help you look at the list of headlines, and you can see additional keywords which you might want to use in your as synonyms or supporting keywords that are ranked in the top, say, 10 or 20. This gives you further ideas. Typically the format just looks like this. This is what's the keyword called. We're on bad credit. So open up the bad credit headlines. What it does do is it runs off and it pulls up this little sheet for you. So you've got all these headlines you can run through. So there's the top 10 headlines. And you can see what's getting ranked basically over there and who the person is through their URL on the side. and then from that you can just scratch to that. And I figured you could use it for SEQs, FAQs, ideas as well, based on
Definitely.
what the people are saying here. So that's
Definitely.
another feature we built in for you guys, just to make your life that much easier.
Yeah, and just those of you who may not know our system, our perpetual lead magnet machine system very well, FAQ means frequently asked question, and SAQ means should ask question. And we teach that in Module 1 of the PLMM system at networkempire.com, which is your front-to-back business creation system.
But what I was saying is that when we're working on the bots, basically what happens is, as it runs off does the work, it imports the competitor data, so you can see actually over here when you scroll down who the top 5 guys are. So all we really focused on in DWS is being above the fold. If you're below the fold, you don't really get seen. So it's these top 5 positions that we want to beat out. And you can see what's happening in the domains, the titles, the URL, how's the average page rank on the stuff. It works out really, really good. And what it does is the chart gets built out as well, which pulls the whole story together. So as the bots are running, it shows you basically your prompt score, your method score, and your difficulties. And it just runs through the whole process. So you can see on average, the site's not that difficult for the keywords we selected to get ranked for, even though there are 1 or 2 keywords where the listings are full to the top relevant content, or based on what Google says. So this paints you an interesting story.
Yeah, fantastic. And
So
what do you?
is there any questions, guys? Sorry, guys.
No, I have a question. But first, let's make sure
Yes.
there's no user question.
No, we're good.
So we have a user?
Not
Okay.
yet.
Then we'll probably should launch in here shortly. I think we're about 2 minutes before the hour. My question to you is that bot that you just showed us on the scraping bot.
Yeah.
What is your? Is that something that we need? Are you planning on putting that into the regular Domain Web Studio membership, or?
Yeah, this is just for the guys to make the life
No,
easier.
the other one, the one that you had the giant spreadsheet of pulling back.
Oh, that's built into the method results.
Oh, interesting.
So I built it into, so we're basically doubling up. When we're on the screen, we're taking 2 points of information from the same screen.
Oh, okay, good.
And
That's what I was wondering.
yeah, when I was today, I was thinking about the method results and what would make the guys' lives really easy when they're trying to find other synonyms of the keywords. So the system is giving you your primary DNA braid, and it's giving you your default supporting keywords. But there could be, when you look through the list for that data set, you could find additional keywords much easier now without having to think too hard. You could run through the list from top to bottom and see what keywords you want to use. Plus, it gives you multiple other things you could do with it.
Oh, I see. This is what you pinged me on Skype this morning that you were asking me about. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah. It's
So then
helpful to
what I
know.
pinged you today,
Hey,
what I
okay.
pinged you about was just for the FAQs and the SAQs.
Yeah, no, that's really
additional
powerful.
sources. Because I'll build another tab into the bot over here that basically will sit right in front, so you could just run it and it will gather up a list of ideas for the FAQs and SAQs. We can get them from different properties, and we'll switch out a spreadsheet as well.
So you folks who were listening to the pre here before we jump into the call here, who you just saw that new feature is, just give Sue a shout. Just type it in if you find that the feature, which is the description and everything, that might be useful for your FAQs and SAQs. Let Sue know if you would find that interesting as an add-on feature, and we'll add that in there for you guys. So what do you think?
That's typically the results, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what you would be getting is the headlines and the sites that are part of the omitted results, I guess.
Yeah. So that would got the guy in position number 1, and that's the page linked, and that's number 2. That's the actual pages got the ranking.
Yeah.
So you can use this as a headline and who's owning the positions. You can do multiple things.
Yeah. It's useful for a variety of things, including your FAQs, as well as depending upon the keyword that you've typed in the engine, and you know how it's related to your painkiller, you'll be able to find out what the response headline are to those painkillers. Some websites do have poor descriptions and headlines, for the things they rank for, because they've really not optimized for marketing their SEO. But still, I find that heavy-duty markets and very competitive markets in painkiller markets do pretty well in the top 10 positions. So this is definitely something I will use to build my FAQs.
Yeah, we got a lot of people saying that this is going to be a great feature, and
Okay, that's a yes.
and Joe also said that it's great because coming up with headlines can be a real pain.
What? Okay, so come on, Joe,
Well, guys,
you wimp.
I'll continue to try and
No,
give you guys as
it's
much
right,
data
Joe.
as I can as what
Yeah,
Google allows us to get. We just got to watch and see how it runs, and if Google
yeah.
gets iffy, then we'll have to
I
discount
just have
that.
to, I have to insert here real quick, Joe. I was just teasing you. In the perpetually magnet machine course, and I'm sure you've noticed this, I don't have the headline course fleshed out all the way, but I have some ridiculously crazy headline modules coming within the next 3 weeks. I've done most of the diagrams for them, and I'm going to be showing you like ways to come up with headlines super quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate Matt's tool here in that process.
Well, Russ,
But
in
it'll
that
be very
process,
easy.
let's have a chat in that process because we could build a bot that does work specifically for that process,
Yeah,
and we can
absolutely,
do
absolutely.
it that way because it's
Okay,
not hard
sounds
to
great.
get it.
Sounds great.
Cool. So that's just some feedback on yesterday's webinar of the Silo DNA, the mods we already made to the bot that goes and pre-populates all this information, and it just, like you can see, it just sits in the background, it works away, and over here you can see it's been drilling away in the last keyword 2 in the last while. It's just been knocking away at all this kind of stuff, filling in the gaps. I've been looking at it, and while it's been doing that, it's been building up lists of headlines. So that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Fantastic.
Cool. So as I see it's time to start. Sue, would you like us to proceed, or should we
Yeah.
hang on around a bit longer?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. I probably should give a little bit of an introduction since we are officially starting on the hour and we've got a few new people arrive. I want to thank everybody for showing up on the webinar, and it really has been almost a teleseminar type webinar or a seminar-based webinar when you look at how much time we're putting into this. We are going to provide replays to each one of the modules because Matt and Sue are really giving their full endeavor to introducing the tool to potentially new people while providing in-depth information and how-tos for maybe those of you who've been with us for a while. I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for the amount of time and energy you've been putting in to learn this. And we know it's going to give you return on investment 20-fold. It is for us. And we just have not wanted to compromise on the quality and the depth of this product. And as you can probably imagine, it's definitely been the most complex project that I've ever worked on. And working with brilliant minds like Matt and Sue, who are actually developers, has been a huge learning experience for me. I would say that when you combine this with Kraken, definitely looking at some really advanced technologies, that the bottom line is that we want to have this for you so that you can multiply the revenue in your business by a power of 10 or more. So we're just going to jump right in. Today we're going to be talking about the syndication aspects. This is where it gets really fun and exciting. This is where when Sue and I get together and we are serving clients and working with them and mentoring and consulting, we get excited, we start bouncing around on the walls and stuff because it's really where your business is automated. You can set and forget. Once you have the research done that you performed in webinar 1 and 2, you're ready to automate the entire thing, and that's what Matt's going to reveal to you today. So I'm going to step aside and let Matt jump right in.
Great. Thank you very much, Russell. Yeah, guys. Okay, I've gone ahead because of the project manager module so big. It's a massive mod. It took us nearly 3 months to write it, and we're just in the process of finishing off the latest version, tweaks we've made in the last 2 weeks. We've actually expanded it a bit more. So this module is really big. I went ahead and I pre-populated a lot of the information to save us time, so we can spend more time focusing and discussing the steps rather than keying in information. So I hope you do forgive me for jumping the gun, but I'll do my best to give you guys the best overview of everything. So okay, here's the project manager, and what this does is when it kicks off, it starts off with your project overview, and what it gives you is just a summary of your project. We can quickly click edit and go in and tweak any of the things. You can add your elevator pictures over here at this point. You can appoint a URL to a bio picture that you want to use that matches your elevator pictures. You can see your project profile, your rates and costs, what you're charging. You can see your conversion funnel that you set up, how much traffic you need, and as affiliate, how much traffic you need. So you can actually get a quick snapshot of everything. Then, wherever you see a blue plus in the system, if you click on it, it opens up data. So what we've got next is the average ranking factors. And what I've done there is, excuse me, what I've done is I've just put it down because it's quite a large grid of information. And the average ranking factor looks at your competitors. And we've broken it down into 4 sections. So first we look at by project, the whole project. What's the average ranking factor? And we can see we've got an average of 3.5 for the keywords that we are competing on. And we can see the average number of pages indexed, and you can see it's really high. So when you see a big block like this, typically it means you're either dealing with forums that are ranking, or you're dealing with e-commerce stores, things like the Amazons or big e-commerce stores, or as we go down, we'll see who the market owners are. The next thing we've got on the screen here is by keyword, the average ranking factor for the top 10 keywords. So for credit check, we can see we've got an average of 4.6 page rank, and then it turns down to the lower echelons. So you can see which keywords are going to be where you're going to be fighting. So you already get an idea that on credit check, there's a lot of page rank over there for that keyword on average. Okay, it's not for a specific one, but the average across all the guys is a 4.6. That means you need to get at least a 3 to a 5 page rank to really contend over here. If you're doing the silo structures, obviously it does help you a lot much more. Next, we got the ranking share, and this is for the global project. It looks at who's got the biggest market share across all the domains in your competitor data, which the bot has gone and gathered and inserted into the system. So over here we can see that MoneySavingExpert.com has got a 14% share. Now for the people that know this website, this is a website that belongs to a guy called Martin Lewis. He's like a financial celebrity. He's on the TV all the time giving people financial advice. And let's just enable this. This website over there basically turns over £1 million a year just in affiliate revenue. Watched the documentary on his whole business, and people were talking about stuff, and this is based on a forum where people go and talk, and all they do is they post, and they've monetized their whole website, and they earn over $1 million in revenue just being money-saving experts. Their whole goal is to save money for people, and that's what his business is doing there. So for guys who want to do affiliate stuff, if you think properly about your business, you can make a serious business out of it by providing people with decent, good content.
Indeed.
This is Money is a competitor of that one. They're typically the same type of thing. They got the 12% share, and then it goes around, and you can start seeing other things there. So then what we did was, for the guys who are selling products and stuff, we got the ranking share, and it's the contender versus the nemesis. And typically your nemesis will be the Amazons, the Yahoos, all those type of big stores, eBays, that Wikipedias that typically push in. Now, quite interestingly, in this market, we haven't seen any of those over here. We've mainly got Money Supermarket and banks and USwitch and all that stuff. Money Supermarket is another big contender in the market. They do a lot of advertising on the TV. They make millions as well. But they're selling car insurance, all kinds of insurances, and all that kind of stuff. So they're totally different to that, but they're also a huge company doing affiliate revenue. So it's quite interesting looking at this, how these big corporates are actually slogging it out for these keywords. We just run randomly into this blueprint for the presentation. So what's good here? Typically in the Nemesis screen, I'll show you something else, just on another project over here, just to demonstrate that. When you look at your nemesises, often you will find opportunities for advertising. So effectively, they own the rankings, but you can use their platforms to outrank themselves, or you can actually advertise through their platform product through this. Scroll down here. Here we can look at this here, and this is just in a wetsuit type of thing. We can see that Amazon here has got a 49% share of the wetsuit rankings, which I found very, very interesting. We've then got shopebay.com, which means you can have your own shop selling your own product. There's Yahoo Answers, which is a major place to advertise. and then there's shopping.yahoo.com. So between all the nemesises, there's basically only Wikipedia, which is an 18% share of the market. The rest of the other places, you can actually go place your own product. They're accepting on Amazon. But you could do your own affiliate thing there if you wanted to. Or if they had AdSense on their stuff, you could squeeze in there somehow. And that's typically a very good thing to see. Then when we look at the contenders, these are the businesses that you're actually up against. And websitewarehouse.com has got the biggest share. You can see they dominate this website market. So this becomes very interesting when you actually, before you start promoting, now the system tells you, look, these are the cards, we put them on a table, and this is who you're up against. So if you look at it carefully, you can find opportunities to advertise in alternate places on big blue chip companies like Yahoo, eBay, and those types. And then you can very quickly see who are you actually fighting against, and it could be Western Warehouse and Nextag. Those are typically the two guys who got most of the share. The rest of the guys got small slices of the pie. So let's go back to the project. Sue and Russ, have you got any thoughts on those charts?
One thing I wanted to remind everyone watching is that this is the UK, because I noticed back in the affiliate stuff, just in case those of you who maybe were not here before start going to the search engines and looking for the money stuff that he was talking about. That's UK-based stuff. Other than that, really exciting, the fact that you can look at the large sites, and typically speaking, the large sites take up a huge share of the broader keywords, and this is something to take into account, that they may not always be enemies, that there may be opportunities within those matrices as well, and I think that's really cool.
So now just scroll back down, you can basically just look at your competitors, and you can click on the plus sign again and open up and see who's ranked where. You can look at the URLs to see how deep their articles are. Typically when it's mainly top level domains ranking, it's pretty tough, but when you've got a lot of these deep-seated articles, they're usually very easy to knock them off. So this gives you a good idea. If you want to delete the data set, you can just click on the red X's where you see them, and it'll get rid of that information.
Okay.
So what comes up next is just an overview of whether or not the keywords excluded from the blueprint, i.e. it's missed for the promotion. So I have a red X. We can see the solid type, the categories, and the supporting articles. We can see the time to rank, the suggested backlinks for the campaign for that keyword, what's the estimated cost for the backlinks, and then how much backlinks we should get per month, and then what's the suggested articles for the campaign period, the cost, and the monthly amount of stuff. Then at the end we can see how much that keyword is actually worth. What are we fighting for? We want a piece of that pie. So for backcredits, you can see there's £267,000 just on that one keyword over there. And that's how you can see how the thing goes. Now obviously we just grabbed these keywords out of random due to time constraints. We never put much thought into them to demonstrate the system, but it paints an interesting picture if you look at it that way. So to get started with the whole story, we start off with this linear navigation over here. It's a vertical navigation, and it runs step 1 down to step 8. And the first thing we want to do is the promotional scope. Now the promotional scope, I've pre-populated this, but basically what it does is it gives you 2 columns over here for the current syndication and promotion configuration. You define what your business is doing. Are you dealing with business to business? Are you doing business to consumer sales? Are you dealing local, national, or international? Whatever you're doing here, just tick the boxes. Okay. Then, if your keyword, your primary theme keyword, you can see it over here, credit repair. You want to see, is this keyword basically on any of these channels, and are your competitors there as well? So all you've got to do is you just typically click on the link, and this will go to Twitter's search function, and it'll pull in that keyword, and we can actually have a look and see what's actually there for credit repair, what's being said, who's doing what, and is it a channel that we actually want to use and focus on. So if we look through here, we can see financial service, credit repair, loans, and so it goes on, and we've got all the links running all the way down. So yeah, you can see what the guys are doing, and you can follow through with that. The same applies to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, article directories, Google Groups, and PR Web. And wherever you want to promote, check these properties off over here. Sue, would you like to have a chat about this? Because you gave us a really good definition on this last time when we were speaking about the syndication promotion configuration.
Sure. So on the first column, we're trying to make basic determinations about your business. Are you a business-to-business type business? Do you have customers? Are you B2C? Or is your business, that's kind of one aspect. It's going to be, oftentimes it's either or on those two questions, but it can also be both. And then on the local, national, and international, you want to check all those that apply. So if you're local based, or if you have several branches but they're all local, in other words, you're not trying to do a national campaign, you'd maybe like in one state or something like that, then you'd want to target the local market. If you're distributed across several states, then you probably want to go more for a national level, and obviously if you've managed to overcome the challenges of international shipping, then international is the way to go. When it comes to the different social platforms, the different platforms that are indicated there are actually anchor text, and you can click on them and it'll automatically search for the broad term in your website, the term that you've indicated as sort of the root term for your website. And the idea behind that is I'm just looking to see if there's conversations in those different platforms at all about your broadest concepts. If they're there in any regard, then you're going to want to be there. Now, Twitter, as far as I'm concerned, is actually a foregone conclusion. It's so easy to just take the feed that comes out of Domain Web Studio and that comes out of your blog and pipe it through Twitter that I just don't know why you wouldn't do that. YouTube, I can't recommend strongly enough. I know that there's a bit of inertia that has to be overcome with the idea of making a video and getting it up on YouTube. There's a bit of a learning curve, and you might feel like you need special equipment, but I just got to say, you don't.
Yeah, and we covered that. We covered that quite well in the Curation Profits course and the G++ course for members.
Cool. But yeah, just like even an iPhone. I mean, one of the members that I talked to was absolutely appalled when I said, just grab your iPhone and make a video and upload it. But it's just the quickest way to establish communication and rapport with your potential customers. I just can't say that strongly enough. So I would highly recommend YouTube. Facebook requires commitment. You can't just put up a Facebook fan page and ignore it. You have to check in on it from time to time fairly regularly, because people try to talk to you there, and if you're going to put a presence there, you got to make sure that you're responsible and pick up that conversation and talk back to them. Otherwise, you actually lose bonus points, brownie points with your customers rather than gaining them. LinkedIn is a little bit more automated. You can set that up so that everything comes to your email. It's not as much of a high maintenance thing as Facebook is. And LinkedIn I would recommend more for the B2B market. Facebook can be good. Facebook's really good for B2C, and it can also have a good impact on a B2B clientele. It kind of depends. That's where you would go and check and see, are your competitors in those particular areas? And if they are, then you want to be there. And then article directories, Google Groups, and PR Web. Well, let's take this one at a time. Article directories, you're going to put stuff out to easing type places anyway, easing articles and those sorts of article directories, but it's good to just like do a query and see what kind of articles are other people, your competitors and other people, putting in those sorts of places. Google Groups, this is a forum type area, and this is to just kind of get an indication of whether or not you need to be in the forums with your particular topics. And I figure Google Groups is as popular as any of them. It's a good place to go and just kind of get a feel for whether or not your topics are being covered there. And PR Web is a particular kind of press release site. There's all different kinds of press releases. We have listed in here a whole bunch of them that are free, but if you're going to spend money for your press release, go with PR Web. They've got great packages. Their prices have just come down. They're about half what they used to be, and they've got packages that'll one get you out in the social stream, and then another one that'll actually get you syndicated through the API, the different press channels. And like the reason why I would check and see if your competitors are there, there's a particular kind of approach, and within the members area I've got links to some documents that you should check out about how to do your press release, because you want to formulate that, particularly for PR Web where you're paying money for it. You want to formulate that in a particular way so that it's most effective. So it's a good idea to check there and see what your competitors are doing and see what the kinds of conversations are about your particular subject matter. Let me see if there were a bunch of things that scrolled across my screen. Let me just see if there's any comments there. Vinny says that there's some really good Facebook management systems that make Facebook a lot easier. Yeah, I'd love some names, Vinny, because I'm not, as much as I try to keep up on the entire industry, it's huge these days. Wildfire.
Yeah, you'll find that there's a lot of customer support things, and Sue, we've actually looked at a couple of them that integrate with Facebook directly. So you'll see more and more Zendesk-like functionality incorporating Facebook as a platform. And I'm actually in touch with a couple of companies that are doing that.
Great.
And that's because of what Sue said is really true. You don't want to leave people hanging. And those of you on this call who are waiting for a response from me on Facebook wall right now know what I'm talking about. I usually get back there. I usually get back there once a week to follow up with you. Ryan, I know you're on the call and everything else. And we do appreciate your updates. But the challenge becomes when, for example, you ask for help. Like, Vinny is always on the Facebook wall, giving kudos to posts that come through. The terrible truth of that is all those posts are on feeds, Vinny, because we use the one feed to rule them all. And so what I do is I go through once a week to update them. And those come through our one feed to rule them all system, which comes through an extracted article system, which comes through Domain Web Studio. So the whole thing is set up in automation, and it generally wags the entire industry. But you need to have a system in place if you're a B2, especially if you're B2C, and you're selling to a lot of the market that is Facebook driven, meaning social markets, core value products, these types of things. Make sure that you either have an outsourced person, and we're going to have some teleconference calls and webinars on outsourcing once we kick off Studio. You've got to be really sure that you have somebody on staff, or else you're using one of those platforms that Vinny was talking about to make sure that they're getting managed. And they can, those management systems will ping you and to your cell phone and everything like that, so you never miss anything. Anyway, enough about that, but I agree with that. Just keep in mind that Facebook, Sue and I will both, go on about this in our webinars. Facebook is a universe all unto itself, and just proceed with caution in that environment. If you have any questions about the environment, don't hesitate to contact us or get coaching-consulting with us on that, because you've got to be really careful with how you address it in certain industries. Thank you.
Cool. Interesting, guys. Cool. So what we do next then is, once we've understood and we know what we want to promote and where we want to promote, what we do now is we define our costs and our company details. And this first keyword here is basically the theme keyword, theme for the whole website. That's the keyword in total that you want to dominate and rank for. So by this time, you want to put in your proper domain and your proper blog if you're using a blog. Okay, you got to fill that proper domain in over there. As when your URLs get built out for you, it'll put the wrong thing in there for you. So what we've got next is our pricing structure, and what we do here is for the syndication promotion, we fill in the development cost. So we put in a production cost per unit. So what does it cost us to make one video? And we put the price in. What's the cost us for one press release? If you're doing premium press releases, it could be $250 as an example. Directory submissions.
That price for press release is going to figure in on all the press releases. That's why we had it down lower, because there's a bunch of them that are free. And so otherwise the price looks enormous when you go into the graphs.
True. So every price you put in is per unit, so this mind it works out per unit cost to give you a total cost for the whole promotion. New content costs, what you charge per content, and then repurposed content. This is a new thing that Sue's been teaching us a lot about lately, is repurposing our content, and we put in a price in there because it's basically taking content, adjusting it, and then pushing it out again to the different other networks. So obviously the cost is much lower, and this is where you can make massive savings if you do it right. And then what's our backlink cost? So at this stage, again, like remember we said in the first webinar, we would come back to the company details where we would put in the address and the elevator pictures. We'd fill in all those things over there. These things will get used for the content in the next update that's coming out. They'll be injected directly into the articles for you, and you can basically write around them, especially for places where Google Places is one of the things that you'll be doing. Okay, so what you've got to do is just
I got a question for you there on that screen. The backlink cost, is that like a third-party backlink that you're talking about, or is that more like just the cost of actually taking the content and getting it published?
We split the two things out into two entities. A content's got a fixed cost for itself, and then a backlink's got a cost for itself. So if you're getting like a package deal where the guys are giving you 20, 30, 40, or 100 backlinks of a certain page rank for a fixed price, I would typically divide it by the amount that you're getting, and that'll be your unit cost, and you can stick it in there. Just try and get an average. That's typically what I try and do, because you're trying to, remember this is a modeling system, you want to get as close to the money as you can, so you sort of got to work things out every now and then, because not every backlink is equal. So typically I just put $15 in to get an idea, and then when I come to do it I can update exactly when I know what services I want to use, or if I'm doing it myself, harvesting my own backlink and then pushing them, then
yeah, you have to count for your time then. So you average it
count for your time. So it depends on what you're doing. There's so many ways of acquiring backlinks, and there's so many offers out there. If you use this for example, if you put in a base rate of $15 per backlink, and you come across a good provider that gives you solid backlinks that are working well.
Yeah, it should be good backlink cost $15, cheap backlink cost $500.
And then you can basically see where you can make savings, because if you're for the whole promotion, if it's going to cost you a few grand for your backlinks, this is where you want to start from a business point of view. Come and see where you can actually make the savings. So this gives you an idea of, okay, you need this type of budget. Then when you know what you're dealing with, it becomes easier to go out and shop around and see where you can find the deals.
Right, so if you're text link brokers and you're buying, they have 3 different packages. Just take their package and then divide it and then put that in. And if you're doing multiple packages, then are they supposed to divide multiple packages from different providers into one and average them out?
Yeah, you're just looking for average price.
Okay, so an average across all product purchases.
Yeah, that's what you'd like to do.
Okay.
So if I'm doing everything in-house or with my team, and I've only got 2 costs really. One is the cost of somebody writing the content, and then somebody else who's a little bit more internet savvy, not particularly a writer, is going to go out and actually post that content for me. Do I put the posting price in the backlink cost, or how does that work?
Well, what's it going to cost you to have that guy sitting there? That's the first question I would ask you. If it's costing you $30 or $40 an hour to have him employed, then typically that's your cost. Unless he's posting 5 articles, then you take cost down because he's getting 5 things posted, which he's creating the backlinks.
Okay, so then I put that posting cost in the, right, but I put that posting cost in the backlink area then. That's what you're saying, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you divide an average. Okay, gotcha.
You've got to always find the average, and that way you can work out roughly what your costs are going to be.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, we define our costs. So this is where we start looking through the whole project. The next step we got is a team availability for tasks, and the way the system works is as you keep assigning tasks to the team, we've got like a credit-based system set up, and the credits are made up of the amount of hours they've got available to work for you within a set month. So, excuse me. So for over here, you can see, yeah, I've got lots of time available because I've not been doing much, but I've been making my wife work. So I work 25 days of the month and 7 hours a day, whereas Sarah's working 15 days of the month and she works for 5 hours. So the time she has available versus the amount of tasks she's been assigned, you can see that we've exceeded what she has available by 6 hours. So we've over-assigned work to her. If she works hard, she'll come back into the green and she'll earn tokens or credits again or win hours back for the month. But the system basically helps you when you assign tasks to very quickly see, especially if you're working on multiple projects, if you're swamping your team. And that's a major problem in a lot of businesses, is when you overassign work and the team can't cope. And what happens is things don't get finished, and then you start shouting at them or firing them or doing whatever you're doing because they're not getting, a lot of frustration gets created. This tends to manage that part of the business where you can see, right, we're actually running out of work because now we need to employ guys, and then this is where outsourcing, the fun stuff comes in. And for now what we've done is we've just linked that to a few other properties over here. Now, the way this works, guys, is it looks at all the tasks that are assigned for 1 month and anything that's not been finished prior to the current month. And that's what adds up how much time they've got available or left. So if some guys are getting behind in their work, very quickly their time will run out. And if you look at that in comparison to what's been assigned to that person, you very quickly see, okay, this guy's actually way behind on a lot of the work that he has to do. And you can simply do that by clicking into the guy's tasks. You'll see red flags popping up all over him because he's not meeting his deadlines.
So it's cumulative.
Yeah.
So if I have Sarah assigned 3 different projects that I'm working on for 3 different clients, it's actually going to total her hours across all of those different projects and show me what time she's got left here, right?
Correct.
Yeah, guys, we modeled this for ourselves based on our own many years of painful experiences.
Yeah, because you can't focus on one product issue or one project because you'll never have visibility of the rest.
Right.
If you focus on the one project, you'll be in the same boat again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to look at the whole story.
Yeah, and that's a great agency feature for those of you on the call who are agents. It's just amazing. Like, none of the services, in fact, it's very difficult even using Odesk and those things to kind of get that kind of granular team things for a specific online project. So it's really cool.
Okay, cool. So the next thing, these screens that you see at the staff, they pop up wherever we starting content. So the next thing we've got here is number 3, the content management. So if you think of what we've done is we've created a silo framework. We built the framework for our website. We've pumped out the site with the braid, i.e. gave it all the extra juice it needs. Now we're in project management ordering our content. So Russell and I spent a lot of time working on the screen to make the screen as granular as possible when it comes to content writing. And what we've done here is we've broken it down into 5 steps. The first step is just assign a team member. So the more team members you add, the more you'll see them. You can see the name, where they belong, what they're doing, project manager, and if they're trusted. In our system, we've got a review, we've got a trial, review, and trusted. The 3 stages we got for team members. Trial meaning is they just come on board and you give them a piece of work to do, and you're watching them. If the work's rubbish, you just basically delete them from the system. You don't use them or disable their access. Trial means, review means they've gone through the trial period, you're happy with what they've done, now you're reviewing them to take them on a more serious level. And that's on more work and you watch the outcome of that. And typically if you start finding guys who are coming with excuses, they're not delivering on time, they constantly got something to say, their grants died or a hurricane blew their house down and all this kind of stuff, what you want to do there is sort of flip them back to trial. You don't want to put too much attention to them because they're slowing you down. When a person comes in, you give them work, they get the job done, and you trust them, then you flip the status to trusted. So the next step is where we define our article type. What do we want written? And over here we've got the different type of rings. Where's the content going? So you've got the primary ring, you've got the social primary ring, you've got the secondary web ring, you've got the secondary social ring, and then you've got web ring 3 over here and the social web ring 3. So you can basically select where it's going. So typically at this stage it's always going to be your primary web ring that you're writing the content for. It'll either be for your website or your blog, depending on what you're doing. Then we give a quality grade, and we give it 5 levels, A to E. A being the best quality, and E being something that's just been spun and knocked out, and you've not paid much attention to it. And typically level E, D, and C would never go into a web ring 1 content. It will always be A, B, or C. What are the three? Russ, would you like to have something to say about the PAM premium content, the PAM Lite, and then your general SEO type of articles?
Sure. Sorry about that. I had muted for a second. Yeah. Generally speaking, the problems that we've had through the years in conceptual learning for our students is the difference between high-quality content and SEO. And we're going to do a specific webinar on this. We've actually had to kind of invent a new kind of writing. And really when you really look at what's happened over the last few years, you have SEO writing, you have journalistic writing, and you have sales copywriting. And all of you who've been online long enough realize that there's been a kind of drift on those types of processes. And so really what you have to do is put them all together. The highest quality of writing that you can do that converts will convert leads while targeting the optimal SEO keywords in it is what we call painkiller article writing. And it really is the way we determine that is how many sentences can we extract from that article that are not only keyword rich but to your industry, but also will get clicks on a Twitter account. In other words, can you extract Twitter sentences from those articles that have a high click-through rate when the article is shredded through the one feed to rule them all system, and you get massive clicks across your web rings, all of them. Okay, so that we call it the highest quality writing because you really do need to do, 4 ways to avoid back pain or these kinds of things. You've got to write an article that really does speak from expertise. So that's the highest quality. And as you go down in quality and start to get into the old methods of spin text and all those things, it's okay to do that once you have a high quality article written, but you don't really want to put those kinds of articles on what Sue calls WR1 sites. So we've actually got an incredibly powerful matching system. That's why we call it network empire. It's a network of understanding and a data and writing hierarchy that gives you the optimal traffic and conversion from the top down while placing the appropriate type of article quality in the right place within your network so that when you're generating leads, you know whether or not you're going to put your name behind that content. It doesn't mean you can't generate leads and traffic from content that's maybe spun. It just means that you're not really going to, as the web begins to change and turn into the real-time web, which we talk about in the G++ course, the real-time web requires that you put your name behind stuff. So but you got to know what kind of writer to assign to which quality of article, and then place that article in the correct location within Sue's network empire. And when you do that, you just crush it, because with this system, you're going to actually know how much it costs, which kind of article you should write for which location in the empire, regardless of the size that you're scaling to. I mean, it's just crazy. So that's what we're really looking at. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, no, it just makes me chuckle there.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, so then what we do here, guys, is we give the ability to define how many words you want in the article. So we've gone up to like 3,000 plus for really large things. Now this is where we start doing time management, where we say, okay, if you're going to write me a PAM article, I'm going to allocate you X amount of hours for so much for that unit. So you basically assign the time frame and a fixed cost for that unit of content that they're going to. Okay. Right. So Russell in the training area has given the guys painkiller article templates. Basically what you can do over here is, I'll just open this in a new window, you can add your own custom templates for your painkiller articles. So when you're assigning stuff, you don't have to keep on going back. You can basically add your own custom ones to be specific to your company. It won't be for other people. And you just select the type of painkiller article templates you want to use, and you can bind it to that article. So typically what happens is you give your template a name, you'll give the instructions of how they to use this template, and then you'll put a default format of what the template should be like, and you'll assign where it goes to. So this template works with that ring, this template works with that ring, this is a template to use for these different rings. So you can have multiple templates per ring, but you can have multiple styles as well per that you actually post it to.
And
so you can build up a library of templates, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry, Rusty.
no, it's okay. It's important to remind everybody here that there's a method to our madness. We're watching the real-time web collide with, Google, Google legacy. And what's happening is there is really only one kind of article writing style that unifies three agendas, which is SEO ranking, conversion, and journalism, which is headline syndication. Because as the web is broken down into micro content, as social status updates become prolific and spread everywhere, as Facebook is co-opted by Google+, which is actually indexable by the search engines worldwide, we now have social status updates and micro content. Google+ is actually a replacement of Twitter because they couldn't manage the amount of Twitters that were actually being syndicated. Literally, the Google search engines couldn't handle the amount of tweets that were happening, and they didn't want to not index them. But think about what tweets are, guys. Those are headlines, right? So if you're going to pick one kind of article to write that's the highest quality, it's going to be a painkiller article. And then once you're done with that, then you can follow all of our other methods, which are the kind of the old school style of spinning and all that. You can do that, but you can look at the budget that Matt and Sue have set up for you, and the system determines, hey, do I even have enough money to start spinning these and paying my guys to do it? Because a lot of mid to small businesses, they don't have the money to do that, and I'm not going to tell them to be placing their money in that if they haven't got their painkiller articles first. I just wanted to toss that in there, Matt. That's why we've given them the templates, because the templates will allow you to keep control for your outsourcers of the style of the writing that you have so that you get the biggest bang and conversion on the traffic as well as the rankings in one action with your outsourced staff.
Cool. It's very cool, this guys. So pay particular attention to what I was saying. So this cost that comes in here is your default new content cost. It's not the repurposed content cost. It's the default cost that you set up in the system. And if you want to change it, you can change it over here, or you can just come here and tweak it. So if, say now Sarah's writing an article and she's brilliant at what she does, but she costs $40 or whatever your rate is that's set up for the project. You just fill in that amount and the system will remember it for a particular batch. So this auditory content system works with the primary site articles and the primary blog articles, and this is where we set the due date. So when you order something, you can have a batch for a specific date, or you can order one for a specific date. If you just want to have an article written for bad credit, you can just check one and then press order, and we can set the date. So today, when you open it up, it comes up to today's date. So if I want the article for bad credit written on the 12th, I just set the date over there, and I come down here and I check the keywords that I want, but I want to have some blog articles written for this. So I just came out right there. So what we can see on the grid is we've got our silo structure, we can see our silos, we can see the revenue, time to rank, and we see status. Now, all these here are blank. There's no little edit, content ordered, not completed. Those little icons over there show you that the content's ordered, but nothing's been done yet. So we know that we've got 4 articles that are being ordered here, and over here we can see we've got primary website content ordered. So I've just put in an order for primary blog articles, and I want to take that price down to 15 because there's little blog posts that we've been writing on these 3 things over here. And we're going to click order content. So when you click order content, what happens next is we've ordered 3 pieces of information. So we know that there's 3 tasks in this batch, and what happens is it gives the batch a specific reference number.
Excellent.
Okay. So what happens here is we've built in a outsourcing template for you guys, which you can use, and what it does is it basically says this is primary content we're ordering. It gives all the stuff, and it gives you an outline that you can just fill in the gaps. If you don't like it, you can delete it. We won't be offended. But it does highlight the key points that need to be covered. So there's a task overview, the project detail, the timeline and additional information, what's the expected results, what's acceptable, what's not allowed, and then potentially any further information. So what happens is when you fill this in, this batch instruction will follow this task all the way through to completion. Okay, so when we press send, whoever we've got in the task assigned to, that person will be emailed. So with DWS, this is why we need to have unique emails for every single thing we add in the system. So if you're doing the work yourself and you want to set up departments for yourself, you need to use a unique email. If you use the same email, you'll basically lock yourself out of the system because the system won't know who you are. So we'll be locking that down when we actually add the things more. It's still a little bug we picked up on. But you want to keep things unique. If you are just a one-man band and you're doing it yourself, there's no need to create accounts for yourself in different departments. You can just basically whittle through the work as yourself, and you can manage your own time very effectively, and it's much easier doing it that way than trying to assign yourself to different departments. That's just how I would personally do it. So, I'm sorry, Sue?
I want to make a comment back where you were talking about blog content.
Sure.
And you said you took the price from 40 down to 15 because they were only little blog posts. However, if you use our blog plugin, your main pages, your silo landing pages, are actually going to be static pages, and they're not just going to be little blog posts. In other words, they're not going to roll off your blog. So just keep that in mind when you go to order your blog content.
Yeah, just to clarify it even more, basically we've got two exports for the blog plugin. We've got the primary website and we've got the primary blog. So if you're going to have a primary website and you're going to set up the WordPress structure like a website, then it's recommended based on Sue's training in the members area to have a blog as well. If you're just using a blog, then just assign all your content to the blog, and the blog plugin will actually build up the site either or. But typically the way this works is you get two websites with the identical silo structure.
Right.
Just the contents will be different between the two. That's the difference between that there.
Right.
So over here we can see we've ordered more content. So we finished those and we've ordered more blog content. Blog content for the first run comes in. You'll see another column will open up here and we'll take it off when it's all done. So once we've ordered the content, we can actually go off and we can manage the content tasks. Now, when we click on that link, what it does is it just opens up the task editor, and here we can see all the content we've got in the queue waiting to be written. We can see where it's going, what quality type it is, what ring it's going to, and what's the grade. Okay, we can see how much words, if there's a template style assigned, when it's due, and who it's going to. So you can see there's the ones we've ordered for Sarah at the bottom of the list. Now what happens is when one of these tasks gets behind schedule, you'll see a big red flag pop up here, and it's a big one. It fills up that whole space. There's a big red flag saying, hey, this task's not been done. So from a project management point of view, you can very quickly see the stuff that's behind. And you can basically go off and you can click on over here. That'll open up your screen and you can see your instruction that you wrote to that person. You can see what was said. If you want to go in and actually do the article yourself, you can just click on Write Content. And this opens up the whole editor where you can basically pull your whole DNA braid and you can just copy and paste it. So if you're writing and you want to use that keyword, you just highlight it, grab it and drop it into your stuff and you keep on writing. You can drag and drop the words anywhere. If you're writing spun articles, you can basically, you've added your synonyms, you can drop the spin tags in there and it'll spin things out, so you can nest spin tags. This article works really, really well, and I'm in the process of building a spinner API into this as well, where you can have that go and spin out your stuff as well. So there's some more tweaks coming out here in the next release to make the article writing even and much more streamlined. For the writers, they can always click on instruction, they can see their task when they're writing articles, so everything is right there at hand. Okay, so that's how you can go in there. If you want to assign a task to someone else, say now the one person's sick or you can't do the work or you're just overloaded, you can easily just go into that task and update it. And when the page loads again, within the instance you've taken that task out of my bin and I've put it into Sarah's bin. So that's how quick it is. So when you work with outsourcers and they're messing you around, you can literally just move work away from them and give them to someone else, and the system manages the whole process. You can delete tasks, and if you delete it, it puts it back in the bin, and if it's finished and you've done it yourself, you can just basically sign it off and it will fall into the completed tasks bin. So this is all the articles that are written over here. So if you look at the article, you can basically go in there, click on that icon, and it loads up everything that was written for that specific article. We can see the article over there. There's all the content. You can go in there and update it and tweak it out and change it however you want. Okay, so that's ordering the primary content module, and I am currently working on this to enhance it more. Sue's giving me a whole bunch of tasks to do on the article stuff, bringing in even more information to make it even more refined, specific to the different promotion types. Okay, so that's how we order our content. So once our content's built and we've got everything done, we can come across to the export blueprint, and we can either export the XML as a primary website or a primary blog. So if all you do is just click that link, I'm going to open this up in Firefox and just show you what it looks like. You know why I'm doing this. And guys who are not familiar with code will also be probably thinking, what's this all about? That's typically what your export works with, and it's an XML. So for the developers, you can use this as well for other things if you wanted to. You'll know what to do with the code, but that's typically what it is. So don't get freaked out if you export out and you don't know what it is. All you got to do is export it, save the file, just waiting for it to save. Okay. And then we're going to get to our blog. Now what I've done is I've just set up a fake blog over here on one of my domains. I just got a domain and threw up a blog on it. And if we go to plugins, I'm going to demo how the site gets built out. So we've got the WP Ultimate Silo Builder. We've activated it. Now all we do is we go to our silo settings, and what WP Ultimate gives you here is a shortcode you can use. So by default, we've basically taken a shortcode and we've injected it into the content of the page, and it will create a structure like that within the copy. Okay, you can come in here and you can change this to navigation or whatever you want to call your site structure, and you just click Update Settings, and then click on the silo importer, and this is all you have to do is browse, find your plugin. There's so much stuff in there. It's that one there. Open and say import. Eight seconds, that's how long that took. I've just built a whole website in 8 seconds, guys. So I click here, and what it gives us is all the pages, right? So what it does is background, there's a silo, here's our categories, everything's there. We go to our categories. There's all our categories, all nested, all prepped and ready. Everything is right there. And here's all our posts. And this has created a 4-tier website where we've got silos, categories, and underneath how to fix bad credit, we've nested another 5 supporting articles. So this is a 4th-tier website, which has always been super difficult to do with WordPress. It's virtually been a pain in the So everything is in draft mode, guys. This is just one thing we've done as a safety precaution, because we didn't want things published straight away. And everything's put in drafts because you might want to go into your SEO, you might want to come in and configure other plugins, you might want to come in and tweak the articles, change a few out before you actually push it all live. But typically, to go and create a page, create a category, create a post, on average we are looking at 6 minutes per task, depending on your bandwidth and actually timed it, how long it takes. It's on average between 6 and 10 minutes, depending how fast you are. So if we took the most 10 minutes, we times that by 12, that would have taken us an hour and 20 minutes just to create the pages, not even get the content copied and pasted in. That's just to do that basic work. So something that's taken an hour and 20 minutes now has basically taken you 10 seconds. So I'm just going to do a quick edit here and just change this to publish.
You know, you can click them all published if you want. Just hit the and then go up to bulk actions and say edit.
All right.
Hit apply. It'll bring up another little menu. Over on the right, you set them all to published under status. There, yeah,
There it is.
there you
I
go.
was looking for this all day today.
Published and update. You can do the same thing with your pages.
You don't have to use the categories, I assume?
No, categories are already published.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, well, pages.
Hit them all.
Okay. Edit, apply, published. So that's taken us 2 minutes, guys. We've got a whole blog built out in 2 minutes with all our work from DWS, everything there. So here's the thing, nothing found. I'm going to refresh this. And whack there, the whole website's built out for us. There's our home. At the moment, still got the blog roll running in the front. There's all our posts from one of our supporting articles. There's our backrest site built out. So we can drop into that category and you'll see all our posts will come in. Just over there. Okay. And there's all the content that we've put into the article. Everything is over there. Okay. So when we go to back credit, and I scroll down to the bottom of the page, there should be a demo example of the short code. So there you can see navigation, and there's our links dropping down into that specific silo for the back credit file. So there the whole site's built out. In literally 5 minutes we've built it all out, and I can't think of anything that is as easy as that. Now all you got to do is just come in here, tweak it out into whatever your SEO and whatever, give it the look and feel of how you want to do. And that's typically something that you can't automate. That's given to your personal touch. I'm going to stop at this point, guys, and I'm going to allow you to ask a few questions because as we jump into the next hour, I want to take us through the promotion thing, which is the very cool part. But yeah, I've shown you how we've taken the framework we designed, the braid we've taken, the content we've written, and we put into a blog. In literally under 5 minutes, we have a whole website live. Now remember this, if you're making money and you're working for clients, you can still charge your client for the full development time. Just because you're being smart with your time doesn't mean you can not charge them for the average time if you wanted to. Alternatively, you could say to them, look, we like you, we'll give you a big discount just because we appreciate your business. So you can play it any way as well, because now all of a sudden you've got time back, you've won time back, and this is what we focus on DWS, smart decisions and to win back time. So is there any questions at this point in time? Because I know we've covered a lot of ground in the last hour.
One question was had to do with the scroll on the front page where all of the little snippets say read more. Somebody was asking if that would flag Google that it's a machine-built site. I think that's just the WordPress default, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've not put any themes on this. I just installed it and stuck the plugin in. I've not changed anything, so this is as default as it comes, guys.
Right.
That's why I said you've got an hour and 20 minutes still to fiddle and place your site, and you could have that site finished in 2 hours looking exactly how you want it with your themes and all your kind of stuff. Exactly how you want to look and feel, all your contact forms done in the same time would have taken you to go and map out each one of these categories and to drop all this content in. It's all done. Now remember this, with DWS, you are ordering content and you're assigning it to people. As people are finishing that content, they're writing it, and it'll be basically pinging you back. So you'll very quickly know, and you'll see how fast content can get written. There's nothing saying you can have 5 guys writing your content. So effectively, you can have things move very, very fast. So you must always think about leverage. How can you leverage your time the most? So with the plugin, we've leveraged your time. We've won you back nearly 2 hours of your time. With outsourcing and getting a bunch of guys writing for you, even if they can write for 2 hours for 3 days of the week, that's won you 6 hours, especially if they can write decent stuff. That's 6 hours worth of content you can basically get knocked out. That's potentially 6 decent articles, if you think of it, depending on what you're writing about. DWS is designed to use the straight line approach, to use leverage, to maximize and to allow you to build up your team and have full control over what you're doing So you're controlling your time, you're controlling your money all the way, and you're moving lightning speed. So you can go as fast as you want to go. All that time you went back, you can take that to make your properties look as sweet as possible, so that when people come there, they like what they see, they like their trust. And if you find any footprints that you think Google will be not happy with, you can have the time to go and tweak it out. You're not pressed for time anymore. You've won time back. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. The next question is, does the article module recommend the supporting keywords, and does it handle meta tags?
Let's have a look. Okay. Let's see what we've got over here.
He's actually talking about in the place where the person writes the article.
Oh yes, beg your pardon, I'm looking in the wrong place. Yeah, yeah. When you click on the manage content, and when you click into the article, with the new update, we're going to basically make this press one button and it updates everything. But currently, you can update your page title. You can put your own meta keywords. In the new version, we're going to suggest meta keywords for you, and we're going to inject your page title in for you over there, the basic keywords that you need there. We're going to take the contextual keywords that you are over here, we're going to put them in there depending on what type of promotion type you're doing. Okay, so we're going to be putting things where they're needed for you by default. So to answer your questions, here is your primary keyword, there's your title tag. You can write any title over here. I'll actually go back to the completed task, and you can see what I've done there. I drop into this bad article credit one. You can just see that I've got information and bad credits. I've got all my keywords in there, and this all gets carried across into the XML, which then gets put into the blog blueprint. So it injects everything in for you. It does the synopsis. It does everything for you.
Excellent.
So have you got any comments on the plugin and the blog and the process we've just gone through? You want to mention anything before I carry on?
You got, I think, the entire audience standing on their feet with that demonstration.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm just I'm trying to decide whether we really want to sell this or not. I'm just looking at going, I can hear Vinny right now.
Cool. Okay, guys, so that's the fun and games. That's all the hard work done. We built our site. It's live. We've published it. We've taken our SEO plugins. We've injected them. We've got them all running. We tweaked. They're happy. Everything's looking good. The contact forms are working. The PayPal buttons are working. The e-commerce is all connected. The pros are all. Everything is set up. You're ready to go now. Now we're going to start promoting. Okay. Now, promotion of your whole project is a whole different cup of fish. It's just like, what are we to do next? And in our first iteration of the promotional blueprint, the people were like, what is that? It was like Chinese writing. None of us could actually understand that. Well, only the mad people could. So we had to go back to the drawing board and revamp and make it as user-friendly as possible. And I'd like to introduce the new promotional blueprint module to you guys. So with DWS, I created the solid blueprint. We've now shown you how we built out a site rapidly. Literally in 2 minutes, we've mapped out a whole book with all our content and everything in it. And now we're going to start turning the heat up on the stove. As you know by now, I like to model and I like to fiddle with things so that I know what I'm dealing with. And what I built here for you guys is a syndication and promotion blueprint model. And it's a very visual part of the system, but what it allows us to do is to look at what we've included. So we scroll down, wherever the tick boxes are ticked, we know that we've included them for promotion. And this is where we sit down with the client and we set the clients right. If we're doing client work or we sit with ourselves and we say, self, what can I afford? And we can see what's easy, what's going to take a long time. And we know that basically the lower hanging fruit here is only take us at the most 7 months. And there's not much money to get made over a year, spent over a year. It's pretty decent. What if your client says, okay, look, I'm working in a seasonal market and I want to basically promote the next season stuff now so that we are ranked by the time it comes in. So they're basically doing some forward thinking and they're thinking of what's coming next. You effectively can put in the keyword over here in this text area and you can filter. So for this one, I'm just going to put in fix as an example. And I'm going to press submit. And that'll bring up all of the fixed keywords. Okay, so let's just say that those keywords are the only ones the guy wants to work on now as an example. Or potentially he might say, look, I want to first do all my long tails. And you know all your long tails are under 100,000. So you can say, show me all the keywords that are smaller than or less than X amount of complete pages or smaller than so much search volume. You can actually filter and submit any way you want and pull back any type of data set from your blueprint. Now, if you don't want to promote all these keywords, right? You're just not happy with it and the guy just wants to start with one. So clear that filter quickly. You can effectively exclude everything. So you just click the exclude button and that will exclude your whole blueprint. It'll say you're not promoting nothing. And I typically just do that from scratch. I just go start off, I exclude the lot. I just say I'm not promoting anything. And I look at this and I think, okay, what do I want to do first? So we know that these how-tos are all the supporting articles. Let's just say we want to do all the supporting articles first. And we want to promote out that data set. So based on Russell's teaching from years and years, he's always said back your way into the market. So let's back away into the market and apply what Russell said. So I'm going to click, okay, I want to include those. When you click this include button, this then goes through the algorithm and it builds out your blueprint. Okay, and whack. We can see our workload and our cost analysis from now to March, and that's how long it's going to take us to get those keywords ranked. It's in black and white. We can see very, very clearly what we're in for. If you like to see grids and charts, you can see the information over here. So you can see the start date, the end date of the promotion, how many types of content have to be developed, what's the new cost versus the repurpose cost, and what's the saving. The red is the new content cost, and the yellow is the repurpose cost. So here you've got a very clear graph of what it's going to cost you to promote those keywords. Now this view that gets shown over here shows you everything within this year plus the full year the following year. So whatever month you're now plus another 12 months of the next year. And we feel that that's a far enough view looking forward for anybody who wants to start promoting, okay? Because most companies work in quarters and they've got budgets set for every quarter of what they can and can't spend. So this makes things very realistic, and you can sit and plan out a whole promotional plan with these guys. So then we looked at it by month. Now let's look at it by promotion type. What are we going to actually be doing each month? And we actually segment this data again. And that gives us a whole different chart. So when you hover over this, you can actually see what's for what. But over here, we can see what we're doing. We're doing social groups, articles, forums, blog articles. It tells us everything we're doing, how many amounts for that thing, what's the cost involved, and what needs to be done. Now, if you find the costings are too high and you find, again, you look for a better deal, you can go and change your promotional scope of year. So let's just do an example and look at this. We're going to look at December. We'll come back. It was $160 and $44 repurposed. So let's just say we find a guy that does them for $25. He's going to make us little YouTube videos for $25. As a student, does good work. He just needs beer money. The press releases, we're going to take it out to 25. He's not going to do any premium stuff. Our content, we found someone who's going to write those articles for $15. If we update this, the whole system changes and we can look at it from a different perspective. So we go to review again. We basically shaved $40 off our price. The repurpose stayed the same, so our savings basically is $80 because we've cut that price down. So you can see how things change here, and I'm just going to open up that one and that one. But we can see by promotion type, and then we can look at each keyword, what's going to happen by each keyword. And I find it very interesting that most of the work happens in the first quarter, and then it just tethers off to the harder hitting keywords. And when you look at this, you can just tally all these prices up, and you can say that's how much it's going to cost us there, there, and there per month for all of these prices, these promotions. And then you can come to a total that you are working with, and you can speak to your client. And they might come back to you and say, actually, let's add in all these as well and see what we're up against. So we just click include. This is the whole blueprint's promotional cost. And within the instance, we've got the whole plan mapped out for us. So it was to March. Now we can see we've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got another 6 months worth of promotional work there. But we can see that the cost peaks in March as well, but the tail is right down again. So this is quite interesting when you look at it from a business perspective, that in the first quarter, the last month of the first quarter of the promotion, it's going to maximize, it's going to peak, and then it's going to drop off. And when you look at March, you can see the price there is quite a fair amount. And this is probably going to be videos and all that kind of stuff. When we look at it from the promotion type, you can see the peaks and the troughs as well. And predominantly it's press releases and videos and things like that are making it expensive in that month. And then by keyword, you can see how your promotion works staggered out, and you can show the client, look, do they want to stack everything up in front? And you can take keywords out and you can manipulate the whole grid to a medium that's happy for everybody, something that they can afford, and at least they've got a concise and clear blueprint of what the expenditure is going to be and what tasks you're going to be working with when you start doing all this type of stuff. Okay, so that's the model. This is our plan. We've looked at this plan, and in the plan we've decided this is what we want to do, and we know what you're doing. Now for the guys who want to make their proposals look really nice, I've done two things. You can right click on the chart and you can copy the data. So when I press paste, it gives us a CSV comma separated data file. You can say this is a CSV file and use it, or you can actually save the image. So if I say export as a PNG, you'll see it'll build the chart out, and over here where it says waiting, there's a little thing saying waiting over here. It'll change color now and we'll say save. So we can just click save, and we can save that image to wherever we want, however we want to do it, and we can basically insert that image into our Word documents or whatever we're doing. So that's how we create our promotional blueprint. Okay. Is there any questions on this, guys?
Oh, where do I begin? Vincent was talking about these various costs and the fact that we're projecting costs, and he wants to know how we get an idea for the feel of those costs if you don't have any prior experience in doing this sort of stuff. And I was thinking that they should go get estimates with samples so that they have an idea of the quality that they're looking at for the price that they would be getting. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Shop around there. This is a buyer's market. You've got to shop around. Remember, the world's of recession and everyone's crying out for work, and there's a massive workforce out there that needs to be working. And with this tool, not only can you empower people, but you can actually change their lives by finding these golden nuggets. There's a lot of people that need work, and there's a lot of people that can write and do jobs that are really smart, and they will do it for a good rate. So,
yes. And I'd like to add to that, Matt.
Sure, Karen.
You know, we're going to be having a webinar coming up once we start getting into the launch with some of the major outsourcing folks out there. And it's like big names that you've probably already heard of. I'm not going to mention them here just yet. But, and they're going to be strategic partners with us as well. So there's no real the problem is not that you can't find the people to do the work. It's determining balancing the quality with the lower rates. And so we'll be able to give you more and more insight inside the network members area on outsourcing. Sue and I will be covering more and more of that. And we are also going to be putting together our, what we call Sue and Matt's sneer proven, Rolodex essentially. So we'll be offering things that we've tested that works in this buyer's market, as Matt was saying. But again, you've got to be careful about what you use, and so that's one of the benefits of the membership area, is that we'll be revealing things that we've tried that are approved, at least for now, and kind of tabulating other members' experiences as well.
Yeah, guys, you got to remember that with DWS, if you bring a new guy on, you can test him for one quality, okay, and you can take a small hit of X amount for that price. But shop around. You can basically get 10 guys in for a trial, give each guy one piece of content to write, and cherry pick the best guy to move him up into review if you like his work. The rest of the guys you can just say no thank you and delete them.
Exactly. And I also want to add that I'm currently working right now to get Domain Web Studio Odesk approved, so that means on your drop-down menu inside Odesk, you'll be able to see someone who already knows how to use the system. So that'll add kind of an advantage to increasing the competition of people that you can work for. I mean, people that can work for you. They'll be competing since they actually know how to use this and they're certified. So you'll see it more and more where people will be competing to work for you as your writers. And that's kind of what we're moving for right now over the 6-month period here as well. So these are just things we have coming up to prepare you for where we're going with this.
Yeah, guys, there's never been a system like this where you do the hard work and the research, or you build your business in the framework. You define Tsunomic set, and then you basically find your team, stick them in the system, they log into an environment. Remember, when your team logs in, they're not going to see everything you're seeing as the business owner. All they're going to see is the home button and a page with their tasks. So today they'll log in and say, okay, I've got 20 articles I need to write over the next 2 weeks, and they'll start chipping away. And as they're writing, they're pressing submit, it's going. The same applies to the guys who are publishing your content. Remember, it's the WR1, the WRS1, the WR2 and the WRS2 rings. You want to hand post your content. You don't want to use SENuke and those kind of tools to fire all this stuff out. You want to handcraft it, publish it by hand, put love and care in there, brand it, get your name in there, make sure it looks sweet, and make sure that everything is hot, so that they don't get the index number 2. When the people come there, you basically have built the trust over there before they even hit your primary site. It's a proven fact that the guys that are hand posting are getting better stick rates, better success, the guys generating with bots. There's a time and place for bots, but with the primary ring and the secondary ring, that's not the time and the place for it. You don't want to be doing that over there. On WR3, go ahead, just go nuts. You can shoot out what you want with the DNA braid, but not on the first 2. And for your team to come in, it's super, super easy. They've got the instruction. You've made it very clear. They just got to do it, write it, submit it. And what happens is when the guys write the content that you've published to be published, once they've published it, they basically grab the URL that's been published and the RSS feed if there's one, and they save it in the system, and that's the only way they can close their task down. And this way, you're keeping track of the whole network that you're building out, which you will then be able to export and say to your client, look, here's the list of properties that we have built for you, and this is why we are charging you X, Y, and Z. So the system manages the whole thing and gives you a report at the end. Soon I'm busy working on the quote engine as well, which will bring all these reports together at the end with all the content, and you can see how everything is connected. So we can actually follow the chain from the primary site all the way to the third ring, wherever they put it. We can say, okay, how many properties are listed where?
Yep, and we're putting the RSS stuff in there for the one feed stuff as well. So it just gets a little ridiculous at a certain point what we're doing.
And I just want to point out to you guys that are agencies, this really puts you in a class by yourself, because your competitors do not hand over the list of places that they have promoted their clients' sites to their clients. Right. And there's a multitude of reasons for that, and one is just some kind of fear that somebody else is going to scarf that list and do that work. But but also because it leaves them in a very unaccountable position as far as I'm concerned. I always look very skeptically at somebody who won't tell me exactly what the work was that they did for me. So that was one of the reasons we built this system. One of the reasons we built this system so that we could hold our outsourcers accountable as well as be accountable to our clients. So
exactly, and your outsourcers will love you for it as well. So you create a real streamlined system here.
Right.
And it is important to remember, I think Matt brought up a great point, that your outsourcers, again, because you're not used to seeing systems like that, you might forget, none of your outsourced teams see this system, your overview. You're building your business with full security and non-disclosure, just having your team create the content and syndicate it, which really was my #1 goal for automating the content for WR1 and WR2.
Cool. So that's it. You've ordered your primary site. You've got your plan. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and create our accounts. We're going to decide where we're going to place our content. And this is where it all starts coming together. So we've got in place, we decided this is what we're going to do. We're happy with the costs associated. Now we click on create a third-party platforms. And like Russ just said, everything's pigeonholed for the staff. They only see what you tell them to see. So you'll get instruction, take this content and place it on this property. Okay. And this screen works in the same way. The only difference here is you select the person you're assigning the task to, date is due, how much time you're allocating them to create a property. What happens is when they create a property, this link's clickable, takes you to Null. You can see the page rank. When you hover here, you can view the property. You can create a new account by registering. It takes you straight to the registration form, and you can basically sign in. And once the users, the agents actually created, the guy doing the work for you has created the account, you will see the username and password logged in the system here for you, so it's there available. So if you just want to go and actually log in and see what they're doing, everything is logged and kept in place for you guys over here. Another feature we've added here is custom properties. You can add your own custom property, and that will get filled in at the bottom of the grid over here, and it's only specific to your company, and it shows up throughout all your projects. So you add it once and you'll be able to see that property throughout all your projects that are within your company. This is specifically for guys who know of properties that they want to use that's not in our chosen list. Sue spent a lot of day going through about 1,000 properties, testing and checking everything. She spent an amount of time going through all these, and she's cherry-picked things that she believes are worthwhile promoting on. So I'll just quickly show you how this works. All you have to do is select the person, select the date, and say I'm going to give the guy 30 minutes to create each account. Okay. Then you just check off the properties you want to have built. So I'm just going to do the core properties. Sue, while I've met button and run through the process, do you want to have a chat between the core properties and the promotional properties?
Yeah, there's two things that are different. The core properties you can brand to a lot more, a larger degree than you can the other properties, and some of those core properties, like Facebook, you might even want to outsource to somebody who specifically does Facebook. So that's one of the reasons why you can check each one of those individually and assign it to an outsourcer. So you're going to want to think a little bit more carefully about those properties at the top. You're just going to want to spend a little bit more time tweaking those out, even if you do them in-house, just to get a good look and feel on those, because your competition probably has, and you want to keep up with the Joneses. It's just a good foot to put forward. The ones down below are they're much more common. They're not as, you can usually put some kind of a status in there, some kind of a little blurb about your company, and so when your outsource team goes to fill out those properties, they've got that information available. But they're not configurable to the degree that the ones up on top are.
Cool. And just to select these, the same thing, select the person who's going to do the work, cherry pick the ones you want, press submit. And then what it does is it creates the tasks over here. So you can basically view all the assigned tasks for the account creation process. Now over here you can see we've got the login details, what it is, the page, who's supposed to do the work, when it's due. So all they got to do is fill in the username and password. When they finish doing it, press submit, and let's just say I was going to put in here test just to show you what happens when we do that. When we come back to our create profiles over here, you'll see the username and password logged, and you can see that that property moved out of the list. So there we go. We can see when it's created, and we can see the username and password. And this is specific to each project within the system. So when you come back into another project, you won't see this. It's all specific to a project. So you could have a unique set of accounts per project that you're working on. Okay, so once we've got all our accounts created, then we can start ordering our promotional content. And what we've been doing recently is we've broken the promotional content down into promotional content, conversational content, branding content, media syndication, and we segmented them into groups where the different content types will have of DNA braids assigned to them, as well as specific bits of information that is required. Okay, now remember, everything that you're doing, all this content you're writing and pushing out there, you can use repurposed content or you can write new content, and every single piece that gets posted out, that feed, that property's URL or RSS feed is going to basically put into the system, and we're going to create there's a feed that we've created that actually comes out, which you'll take and you'll plug into the one feed through them all. And the effect of that is this: your team will write the article, they'll submit it, they'll post it. As soon as the guy posts it and he presses, it fills in the URL, fills in the RSS feeds, marks as completed, that becomes active in the RSS feed. That RSS feed is connected to the one feed to rule them all, automatically bookmarks and does all those automated tasks for you instantly. I'll let you just elaborate on that, but just down the road, I'll show you how you go find all your content. So we're at the promotional content, we're ordering a content, we want to see all the content, so you just click find unassigned keywords. This goes and looks at your whole blueprint, and you can see, okay, we need this X amount of article directories, X amount of blogs, and X amount of press releases. You can basically, if you can't overorder your stuff, okay, it always gives you the max. So this keeps the accountability of what's being ordered in track. You can adjust the times of what you want for things, and you can adjust the prices. Now yet at the promotional content, we've defaulted to the repurposed content price. If you're going to use new content, then just tweak your price out and write it how you want to do. Now before I order this, I just want to explain what the 4 weeks one does. It basically looks at the lowest range within the data set that's not assigned. So it looks this far back into the promotion of the last work that was done, and then grabs the following 4 weeks thereafter. If you want to assign by a specific week to a specific person, you can cherry pick through the list, and what it'll do is, as you go through the list, it'll bring up the keywords that are related. So if you've got a lot of keywords in the promotion plan, like there it says changed, there in week 9 we've got a whole bunch of keywords that we need to get promoted out. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the all. I'm just going to assign this out. This comes up with a promotional content task. This is where we can give the guys instructions of what they have to do and what they need to do. We say send instructions. And when it comes back, all the tasks are assigned. So you can see we can't assign anymore. Everything's been assigned. That means that particular channel or that promotional type has been satisfied with work. And literally in 2 minutes, you've effectively assigned the workload for a person for that 4 months with the date and the time that it's due. So you can see it didn't impact this month, but as you go into the following month, this person's time availability will decrease or increase. It will move up and down. So it's a dynamic system that you can project work forward, and as you come into the following month, you can actually see, has this guy got work to do or is too far behind. It moves with you. As he completes the work, his tokens, his credits actually increase. So he gets more time available to do more work for you. So it's quite interesting to watch it run. Okay, and that's the system, guys. The posting of the content is exactly the same. So once you've ordered your promotional content and it gets written, you can then go and post the types. The very next thing is the guys will go in, they'll post it out to the properties that has been assigned. They will have the anchor text that they need to use specifically for that promotion task. That's another, I think, that's come out in the update, is we basically having the promotional blueprint inject the DNA braid, the full DNA braid, through all the promotional tasks so that you get maximum usage of it. So it'll only give you one keyword, which is DNA braid related. Then you can, if you want to use 2 keywords in your post, you can add another one of your choice. But at least we'll have one of the braid keywords running all the way through the whole promotion posting process. Okay, and then what happens is, as they finish that, they fill in the URL, they fill in the RSS feed, and that just keeps on triggering the one feed to rule them all process, where you take the XML RSS feed and you run it through the properties we've defined for you, and every time it's made, that triggers off the bookmarking, that triggers off a whole bunch of other things, and that content then gets syndicated across the web. There's a few other things I want to do with you with WordPress plugins as well, which we can speak about. A few other plugins I'll introduce you to in other webinars as well that do similar tasks, but it just adds an extra layer of backlinks coming into each post that you post. Sue, Russ, have you got any comments or thoughts on that? Because that's basically the whole process to get it completed.
Well, the only thing I would add to that is I tend to use something like OnlyWire, and I'll create all my accounts in the account creation, the platform creation area. I create those bookmarking accounts. I actually use one of the facilities to create the bookmarking accounts. I don't do them by hand, and then I run that feed through OnlyWire, and everything is bookmarked automatically. So as my outsourced team is actually creating content, it's going through all those.
Why don't you just give the entire one feed away?
It's not the entire one feed. There's a whole bunch more to it than that. That's one teeny tiny little bit, but it's a great place for small businesses to start because it's a hand feed.
Yeah, Sue's really correct on that. Part of the beginning phases that we give in the Curation Profits course and the G++ course is that bookmarking, when you're thinking of bookmarking, really think in terms of automation. And we're going to give you a bunch of other sources like OnlyWire. Go ahead and outsource the setups of those, and really do consider those, and again, Sue does her particular method, do consider those outsource platforms, consider them pretty much WS or WebRing 3s, and I guess you consider WebRing 2, Sue? Or,
yeah, those are actually 2s.
Okay, 2s, and I also use them on the WebRing 3 layers as well.
Sure.
And that's super advanced stuff for the SEO domination course. But yeah, you can, like pretty much any blog you can run through OnlyWire and similar services. And we're working with Send right now as well to have them create an RSS feed in, which is some mega huge power, right, Sue?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's not a free service, though.
No. No, but that's the second feed that we want to get into. That we're in the process of negotiating with places like Send, where we could put that through, that would actually take the content, because we've got all the content that you've written for these platforms, the third-party platforms contained within Domain Web Studio, and we know your synonymic set. We can actually do some really intelligent spinning on your content that swaps out your synonyms for you, run it through something like Grammarly so that it's grammatically correct, and then do a mass syndication out to places like Linkfind and Send and those kinds of things.
Right.
And that's like the absolute cherry on the cake, because then that's all going to point back to your third-party platforms, to the social media platforms, so that it helps to get your inbound links a better page rank. What we're trying to do is get all of those inbound links up to a page rank too, so we use all of these automated methods to do that.
That's right. That's right. And if you guys have blogs, anybody listening right now, if you have blogs and your blogs are not, you're not your data feeds are not coming out of your blogs and going somewhere into a mass syndication, then you need to remedy that right away. And so that's kind of what we teach in networkempire.com. And also the Domain Web Studio thing is going to help, everything we're doing here that Matt's showing is going to help set that up faster. And not only that, it's going to be, if you've got this that we've shown you in the last 3 days, it's going to be surgically precise as far as the keywords, and the painkiller article writing styles are also going to give you the click-throughs. We're actually getting direct traffic through our bookmarking stuff as well right now. So that's a lot of fun, right?
Absolutely.
So just to summarize, I'm just pulling up the image again, guys, for you to summarize the process. Just open up the other file, yeah. We created the framework, we created our braid, we've written our content, we've got our site live, we've written our promotional content, we pushed our promotional content out to the second rings and the third rings, we branded them all. We've then read it through the feeds, and once it's gone through the feed, we've basically come back and using the one feed to rule them all, basically created backlinks to our backlinks, which are then pushing the same DNA braid all the way back down again, all the way back through to each page within our framework. And everything is synonymically relevant.
Right.
So as your team's working, every single property that they're creating over here, remember this could be 10, that could be 5, that could be 30 pages posted. Everything is synonymically related to something specific in your site. As this is all done, they're busy logging each one of these pages URLs, and they're putting it back in the system so we know what it is. And when we take all those feeds and we push them through the one feed to the morph system, we're creating backlinks to each one of these, which is getting them indexed. And you will be surprised at how many times you'll basically swallow up page results 1 to 10 if you do things properly, because not only will you get ranked for your silo structure and those things, but in your second ring and your primary blog and on some of the more powerful webtail properties in W and WRS2, they'll start getting ranked as well just by default by their page rank and authority that they have.
Yeah.
So you're actually causing one hell of a storm.
Yeah, and actually
that you're coming up against.
Your competitors actually sometimes get quite upset. For example, we get phone calls. It's when you start roadblocking things. I think that was the original definition. When you roadblock is like 1 through 5. Also, when you start following the basic methods that Sue and I have laid down in Curation Profits course and other courses as well. For example, inserting your video on your blog posts. These are kind of on-site things that you can do. That's not just merely siloing, but also including your dynamic content density, or what Matt, Sue, and I call DCD. And that's really we're noticing ridiculous rankings on top of the website silo architecture. So what we've been testing is making sure that your YouTube video doesn't outrank your blog post. But if you silo, your blog post is going to outrank your video. But when you get there, you have like 6 rankings, like blocking the mid-tail keywords, and it's just kind of overkill. But hey, try to get it in an order that is actually your golden frame site ranking higher, so that your YouTube video is not outranking your site. In order to do that, that's where the silo structure comes in. Because if you've siloed, your blog post is going to do better than the YouTube video, even if you've embedded it on the blog post page or the website page. So we talk about all of this in the members area, pitch, networkempire.com, where we give you the exact out frame of that. So if you're not a current member, there are all kinds of little tips and tricks and techniques that double your traffic, block entire mid-tails while you're ranking with website silo architecture that Domain Web Studio is covering here, okay? So there's things you got to integrate that Sue lays down in the technical side of it, and then we also cover in the traffic courses.
Yeah, I just got to say that some of the stuff that Russ and I have been playing with the traffic course material, I've seen roadblocks up to 20 entries deep. That is, we own the first 2 pages.
Yeah. And again, keeping in mind now that there's the tale of 2 search engines, you've got Google and you've got Google's evil twin, which is the social web ranking, what I call the real-time web, as everybody foolishly considers Google Plus as another social network when it's actually a social operating system, meaning Google's operating system tying to the back end of everything they're doing, and an online platform for users' lives that connects their database to everything. The Google Plus course, complimentary to members, actually reveals how these structures that Matt has shown you and Sue have shown you in the last 2 days also rank you. You can get 20 to 25 ranks deep on the social things. It's kind of weird, actually. When you start plussing yourself and you get your outsourced team to plus you as well, what happens, your circle can actually see you dominating, all of mid-tails across, contextual keywords on your videos. When you start doing the curation work that we're showing, you're ranking for those curation methods, but you're also shown as the influencer with the photograph next to your ranking on the natural engines. And again, keep in mind, you wouldn't be doing anything different than what we're showing you today, except adding the plus functions on it, which you've got in our course, and you do that with Domain Web Studio as well. And then what happens is you have both the visual, influence search rankings as well as the not logged in search engine domination that we're talking about here. And it's really amazing, guys. Like, what we're talking about is a sustainable hierarchy. Remember, it's not about all the stuff you've been reading on Google Plus, how many people are using Google Plus. It's about how many people, as a Facebook escape mechanism. That's not what we care about. It's about social and search integration of how many people start growing in your circles and growing in your social networks, all the things we've showed you how to build over the last couple of days. Because what people don't understand is that these platforms that we've taught you to set up today and that Domain Web Studio is automating in this system, those get run through your Google profile within your WR1, and they show up as you with your nice little picture of, hey, Sue Bell shared this, hey, Matt DeCruz shared this. And you're going to have your outsourced team set this up and connect it to your Google profile. And we cover all this in the Google++. And not only are you going to get the row black rankings, there's going to be a photograph next to your rankings on the search engine results if your users are logged in, which is about 15% of the users right now. And it's an ever-increasing logged-in user. Not the increased logged-in users for necessarily Google+, but your Google account logged-in users, okay, the profile users. This is what I want you guys to understand. That's why we all the materials. If you're in this now, doing this stuff now, you're really owning the market share within the new kind of search engine and social media real-time web. Have I said it?
Yep, you said it. I just want to reiterate something here. Russ and Sue have been saying for the last, I've been following them for about 6 years. I worked with them about the last three to 4 years. But they're saying for the last, since they started Themes Room, they've been saying and carrying on about silo architecture and how it's the core of everything. And it's more relevant now than it's ever been before. And by organizing everything and using the system to manage and control this all, it becomes very, very important, because now you can start controlling exactly how things flow through your website and where you want things to happen.
Yes,
so,
yes. And you're going to hear a lot of mythology over the last, you hear a lot of people talking about the new upcoming web as being a lateral web where everything is social connections only. And Sue has been warning me against that. I'll be the first to confess here. She predicted the Google Plus outcome almost 3 years ago. And I was in this mode where I really did think that social integration could derail traditional search kind of algorithms in some profound ways. And honestly, I've been watching the Google Plus a little bit more than she was while the app was being built, so I came back around and said, hey, and she said, well, yeah. And so, so what was really going on is there were things that she understood as an enterprise developer about how data has to work, and Matt too, actually, that I didn't quite understand, because honestly, I'm not an enterprise platform developer. I'm just, damn it, Jim, I'm a marketer, not a developer, right? So when I started looking at where it was going, and we had some major sit-down meetings, you have to understand, Bradley Horowitz over at Google Plus, sits down with the search engine team, and they start looking at things. They have to account for many, many aspects going on. So the reason that Buzz and all these other applications that Sue Bell and I love that were made for geeks, like Wave and all these things, when Larry Page took back over, he realized that in order for ubiquity, for things to kind of permeate into the regular masses, they had to get rid of the projects that were kind of like startup projects, almost like a startup environment inside of Google. And when he came on board as CEO, he just trashed all those projects because he could see they weren't user-friendly relating to their core competency, which was search. So what's happening is a lot of people out there are mistaking Google Plus for just another startup project at Google, not knowing that silently and quietly and deadly, in the middle of the night, the entire Google database operating for users has been transformed into their old search algorithms. Okay, but you guys who understand website site architecture, which is the core of how that data flows, you're going to be able to crush it on both the social circles as well as the Google proper, just by following the systems that Sue and Matt have laid out in the next couple of days. But again, that's the rest of the story, and we'll be covering that in upcoming webinars and courses. Just want to let you know that everything that you're looking at here in the last couple of days is evergreen, and it's not. I mean, it couldn't be any more mind-blowing for me as well to see what's happened. Of course, it's amazing to know that we put this much time and money in building an app, and that it's not going to get blown away overnight. So we're already projecting the next 5 years, and that's incredibly cool. Just want to make sure you guys know what you get. The time that you're investing in this and the sustainability of it is mind-blowing. And so I just wanted to toss that. Okay, guys, thanks.
So guys, if you got any questions, that's the presentation. That's DWS. That's us pulling the sheet off the hood, looking under the hood, showing you how it all connects, showing you how the system makes it very easy to basically run through the process. It doesn't matter how big or how small your project is, the system's totally scalable, and it's 3 steps: framework, braid, project management, outsource, insource, whatever you want to do, and then split it out. I showed you how we just build out our website super fast. Literally 2 minutes we built a 12-page blog without even breaking a sweat. We can sit and go tweak and fiddle with the blog, or we can outsource this to an SEO guy, have him go and do it all, or you can get the plugins that do it all for you. You can make this look as nice as you want, or if you've got a team that actually does this for you, you can just send them the plugin and the thing. They can import it and map it out. It's never been as easy to build architecture website on a WordPress blog like it is today.
Just crazy.
It built the site in 8 seconds, and we fiddled around for probably 10 clicks, and it was built, it was done, it was ready. So if you throw a theme over this, it changes the look and feel, makes it all pretty, and you give it your flair, that's it done. Guys, it's ridiculous. And
hey, Matt, how much do you think if you looked at all the time, including research and all that, I mean, what we put in, like how many hours, like maybe a couple hours doing this, or?
I don't understand the question.
Well, if you include everything front to back, all the stuff we've gone over in the last couple of days, how much time, to build a site like this, do you think you've saved?
For the research.
You think everything? Like, how much time do you think you've saved for everything?
I think were you talking weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, weeks, absolutely.
Sue and I calculated just with Kraken and themes in alone how much time was spent just on research. But when you add this to it, that cuts what was already cut in half down to a quarter again. I mean, it's just crazy.
The interesting thing about automation is that I always found when I was working for big business is that it never actually did away with jobs,
Right.
but what it does is it allows things to be taken to an HNL, to a whole nother level, right? Because another level. So whatever it was that you were doing like the minimum to get by. And so what this allows you to do, like you look at the Kraken research, the information that you can get out of Kraken, you just wouldn't ever do by hand. Like you just wouldn't ever go to those depths. It's just too time consuming.
Exactly.
And one of the pains that started us down the path of building Domain Web Studio was trying to keep track of what was going on with the syndication and promotion stuff. Like it was just absolutely impossible to get everybody literally on the same Google Doc page, right? So it not only cuts down the time that it would take for the stuff that you would do manually, but it allows another whole level of stuff that can be done, so that it makes it possible for you to just go in there and really blow away the big boys that have been sitting on keywords for 10 years.
Yeah.
It creates synergy, guys. This is the whole thing. It's a synergy-based system where everybody's sitting on the same page. For example, you can basically send emails out to the team just by clicking on the team communication icon I built in there, and you can carbon copy a whole bunch of guys onto it for a specific task. You just grab them, and you flow the system. You can say who you're sending it to, and you can say, okay, cool, I want to have Matt and Sarah. You can put the emails. You can assign tasks outside of the project management, and this creates like a blog feed of when people respond. You can see the whole thread of the conversation. So if 4 or 5 guys are included into the thing, they can all give their pennies worth regardless of where they are in the world, because we're looking at this whole thing from a virtual perspective. We're not being bound by office walls anymore, if you think of it. Like right. Russell was working in Hawaii, I was working out in Scotland, Sue's working out in Phoenix, we've been working a bit of Jeff out in Chicago. Mm-hmm. This is where DWS is at. It gives you the ability to cross boundaries and work with people at any place, at any point in time, and everybody's always going to be on the same page, and everyone's just contributing, and it's all coming out to the end. So when I say weeks, you can really have your team working on your projects 24 hours a day just by being in different time zones. And I know this because soon I've been doing it for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so this creates the kind of flow and the ability to stay on the same page for what used to be, until this was created, complex processes. And not only that, but the complex processes that require modeling up front, they just don't exist like as all as one platform. And modeling, I'm talking about marketing modeling, guys, vertical online market analysis, latent semantic indexing integration. I mean, this product is almost difficult to write sales copy for because it doesn't fall into any existing category. Trust me, I'm trying. Okay, and so what we really have to do is just realize that you have a front-to-back business, actually empire builder in a box. And so what I have to do is be pretty careful to not be too hypey about how, because empire, all that stuff has been out for years. But the thing is, this is, everybody's marketing like the empire systems, ever since the blog empire days. Well, this is it. This is what they were trying to create, and now I know why they didn't. It cost enough to build. But we want you guys to be the first ones who understand this, who integrate it, who work with it, and we hold special value for the original team that was with us, and that's the listeners here on this call and ones watching the replay. We're going to be building, when Domain Web Studio is huge and is one of the classic drop-down menus in every outsourcing system in the world, like Odesk. Are you, sorry, we don't want you if you're not Domain Web Studio certified. You guys are going to be able to say, hey, we were here when this launched, and we really, hold that in high esteem and high value. Absolutely. So we really appreciate all the work that you've been creating and doing with us, and all the help desks, and we are a three-man show, doing the best we can. I know that Sue, I get worried about her sometimes. She's up working, until 4 in the morning, answering every little help desk questions, and I'm like trying to quit. It's like E.F. Hutton, right? I'm trying to quit, when Matt answers something or Sue answers something, I'm trying to capture E.F. Hutton in a bucket so they can republish it to the world, right? Because this is where it all happened. This is crazy advanced stuff. And if you're on this call, not only are you an early adopter, you are like in a whole other level. Like you're in an HNL. The fact that you have stayed with it and you get it, and we're not going to forget that. So thank you and we want to help you through this process of integrating and actually using this on a day-to-day level to generate 5-6 figure income. So I want to extend my appreciation to everyone. We're going to be posting these webinar-seminar-how-to videos in the networkempire.com members area as we raise the price folks, if you're not networkempire.com, you haven't purchased this, either purchase it now or contact the help desk right away, because we are going to raise the price. Those of you who are legacy members, because we're coming out of the gates pretty strong, you already are members, and so you are good, and you're grandfathered in at what you're at. Do you have anything to add to that, Sue, about pricing? I don't want to overstep my bounds on pricing. If you go to networkempire.com, they're going to get the Domain Web Studio sales page and everything.
Yeah, that's up until probably through the weekend before that price gets changed.
And I'm going to do my shameless cry for help. If you guys are, if you're farmers, and you know what I mean by farmers, meaning you're sitting on a list of, or you're a firm or an agency that have sub-agencies, we have a couple of those with us. There's special, I want to give you special assistance in setting those kinds of things up. And a couple people have asked me for webinars. You know, I know John Jonas, replacemyself.com, would like a webinar with us, and the rest, you know, he deals with large systems and processes of outsourcing. If there are any of you on the call today or in the future, please do contact me so that I can assist you, and we will make special concessions that, you know, if you're going to help us create more sales. I just have no problem just coming right out there and say that. So, and also we do want to help you just because. So my telephone number is 608-844-4301. That's 608-844-4301. And don't be afraid to call me. I won't bite, and I do follow up my messages. You can also reach me at Russell, R-U-S-S-E-L-L, at networkempire.com if you want to follow up on some of these calls. I want to make sure that your affiliate program or your agency program is what it needs to be, and you know, just set all of your infrastructure in place. So that's all I had to say about that. Again, I'm very, very grateful for everyone who's, you know, put in so much time learning the system and you know, helping the bugs finally get released from it and all that stuff. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that as well. Thanks, guys. Without you guys, you've been a major contributor to getting it to this level, and keep the ideas coming through. I'm pretty rapid at getting them implemented once I get them signed off by Sue. So if you've got any ideas or you know of any new properties that are coming up that are good, just drop me an email or Skype me on jbay-mbc on Skype. That's jbay-mbc, and just drop me a line and say how's it. We'll have a little chat, and we'll make it happen.
Yep, and yeah, I'd also like to put a special congratulations out there. I've been given permission to do this for Eve, who's a long-term consultant with our organization, who was able to land an extremely lucrative yearly gig using our technologies, and that's really amazing. I want to congratulate her. For all of you who are already starting to implement these technologies to close six-figure, 5- and 6-figure yearly things, I want to congratulate you as well. And again, don't hesitate. Don't think. I just want to make a confession here. There was this kind of view that I was somehow untouchable, and one of the things Eve said before she was closing that super large deal for herself was like, I didn't want to call because I didn't want to bother you or whatever. If you have stuff like that coming up, pick up the phone. You guys are Network Empire members. I'm going to go out of my way if you're closing a deal, you're just feeling a little bit not sure, slightly insecure, or you just want to, you know, a little bit of insight. Like, yeah, should I use this spreadsheet? Should I put this in the white paper? Hey, we're in the beginning phases, guys. We're not multinational at this point. It's you. You are our company. Call us. And if I don't know, I just pick up the phone and wake Sue up in the middle of the night anyway.
I'm already awake. It doesn't matter.
She's already awake. And if I can't bother him at a certain time because, you know, the kids are in bed. But, again, we are here to help you because you're helping turn this into a gigantic success. When Eve works for the large companies and starts doing these things with major CEOs, you know, how she does her work and how she passes it on, her success literally is our success. It's not hype. It's how it works. So we want to make sure that you are aware that we will go out of our way to help you to bring these into the larger dollar deals. Okay? Just wanted to add that.
Excellent.
So, is there any more questions there, Sue?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think we should probably wrap it up then.
Yeah.
If nobody has anything else, then thank you guys. Again, go ahead and sign up in the next 24 hours if you're not members. Shameless pitch. And we're going to go ahead and raise our price, and we look really forward to seeing you all on the inside of networkempire.com, Domain Web Studio. My name is Russell Wright. I'm signing out.